Good morning, everyone. I welcome you to the Wednesday, April 15th, 2026 General Government Committee meeting for the City of Tumwater. And with us today, we have Council Member Joan Cathy and myself, Council Member Swarthout, and we're hopefully awaiting the arrival of Council Member Brandon Whedon. We'll call it up. There he is. And we have Council Member Brandon Whedon joining us today.
Hi there.
Good morning. And so with that, the next order of business will be the approval of the minutes from the General Government Committee meeting from March 11th. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second? I'll second.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we're jumping right into business today. We have a service provider agreement with Pioneer Technologies Corporation for professional environmental services. And take it away, Assistant City Administrator Kelly Adams.
Good morning, Chair and Council members. I am very excited to talk to you always about the brewery. And so this is tangentially, directly, it's related to the brewery. So let me start there. So this is a service provider agreement with a new consultant to do environmental assessment work on the brewery properties and some of our other brownfield redevelopment sites. So I will start with a little bit of context. And the first is to define what brownfields are. So brownfields are the properties that you drive by that have real, or it could just be perceived contamination. And that perception of contamination is often the primary barrier to having those sites addressed and redeveloped. And so what we tend to do here is to look for sites that developers shy away from because they're not sure what the return on investment on those sites will be because they're not sure what the cost of cleanup will be. And so typical sites that you'll see around the city, any industrial site, any empty field sometimes is considered a brownfield. So it's quite literally a brownfield. Gas stations, dry cleaners, auto repair shops, and landfills. And so I have highlighted, these are the typical slides that I do for public outreach for our brownfield redevelopment program that lives here in our economic development department. And so in the process, we start by creating an inventory of sites. So we use different databases at the Department of Ecology to try to take a first best guess at where there might be underground storage tanks, where there might have been previous findings, previous contamination. And then we can also simply drive by and look at sites. We talk to real estate professionals, we talk to different folks in the community, and we start to build an inventory. And this is really helpful when we do the next step, which is to engage with our regulators. So the Department of Ecology, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, working with those folks to get grant funding and professional advice on how we can turn these brownfield sites into opportunities for the community. And then the next step, once we actually have some resources, is to do some reuse planning. And so generally we're looking at some of our plans that I'll show you a little bit later in this presentation, but our capital district plan, our brewery district plan, those plans that are translated into new codes so that we can be intentional about council's vision for these areas. And I've highlighted here, this is the specific part of the process that we're coming to you with this service provider agreement about. And so we're looking at environmental assessment work. So actually doing the phase one work, which is identifying whether there's actually contamination on the site and sort of honing in on what that might be. And then phase two work is doing the actual soil and groundwater testing so that we can, if there's a finding in phase one, we can go back and confirm and quantify what's there. And then once we know what's there, we can start to estimate a cost and help to work with folks to tell them what that cleanup or the remediation should be. And so specifically, this consultant agreement that we're looking at today would start with doing phase two work on one of the brewery properties. And then after we know more, after we have these assessments completed, we can actually do that remediation planning. Did you have any questions about the process before I go further?
Does anybody
All
have
right,
any
seeing-
questions? Okay.
I just want to, have we done any of this work before?
Yes, we've been doing this work. So I came on board in February, and the city's been doing this work for a few years. And I'll show you a slide about the EPA grant that we received in 2023 that really kicked this off.
So, do we have some of this work done?
Yes.
So we're
Yeah.
not starting from the very beginning.
We're not starting from the very beginning.
Okay.
And then moving forward, this is a privately owned brewery facility, correct? This is not owned by the
Yes.
city. Okay.
Yes, but all of the sites, all the sites have different ownership. And so there are some sites that are actually publicly owned, like the former WashDOT headquarters on Capitol. That's our second or third biggest brownfield site. And so we deal with that site with a separate grant funding.
Okay.
So, but that is definitely a great question. The really wonderful thing about brownfield redevelopment and working with regulators is that we are unique. Private developers can't go to the regulators and get this grant funding. We can, and we can use that funding. And in some cases, we can use that funding even if the privately held property, even if they don't want that phase one, because we can do that. That's a historical search. That's us looking through records, looking through real estate documents. So this is a unique program for governments. And if we do all of this process correctly, we can get to actual eligibility for cleanup funds from our regulatory agencies. And that's the real unique value that we bring to the process. And this is something that for the properties that we're looking at, the property owner is actually notified of this process and is very excited for it.
Okay.
I appreciate
Moving
this.
forward, does this benefit them? Are we required, once we have the findings, to share those findings with them? Because it would all be
Yes,
public notice. Okay.
it's all public information.
Okay.
And it really benefits everyone to have the information because we know then exactly what contamination is present and how it needs to be dealt with. And so if there were any transactions or plans, it just gives more information to everyone across the board.
Okay.
It's a great question.
So this gives him information to sell it. So we're
To
doing,
sell it or redevelop it, or just to make more informed choices. Give some hope to the process as well, because it may be that there isn't what we thought. So information is power.
So I
Alright.
appreciate these questions I wrote. So I'm sure that you've got slides to connect the dots because I'd written down, because I know we've received like connecting all these things, like we've received money from Strickland and we've looked at the DOT site and then we've talked about, because I think we've already had some studies done like on the warehouse site, correct? Or we've had some studies done. So I don't want to get ahead of your slides, but hopefully you'll be able to connect all these Easter eggs together at the end. Okay, got it. Okay.
And we'll come back to those questions to make sure I answer them at the end.
Okay, great.
So when we've done this process well, the benefits that we can expect to see are job growth. We want these properties to be developed so that we are building jobs. We're reducing nuisance property. Code enforcement is very tricky on brownfield sites. Improving and protecting the environment, which that feels intuitive as far as environmental contamination. We're facilitating that private investment, which can help to improve the community. And overall, if we are increasing investment in our community and development, we're raising the tax base for everyone here. And so I've highlighted here when I talk about success and what those metrics look like. We can talk about this process, but what does it actually look like when we're successful? The best part, we understand the contamination, and that's what this service provider agreement is working on specifically. And then eventually we have a cleanup plan and a cost estimate so that developers and even the city, if we were to build a facility, we know how much we would need to invest. The community helps vision the redevelopment, and we've had a pretty robust outreach and community engagement over the last, I would say, 20 years with the brewery. So we look forward to continuing that, but we really look forward to bringing everyone information. That's the value that we want to bring to the community in these discussions. It's well and good to say what the vision is, but there's open questions about what's really there. And then we can leverage additional funding. I spoke about that a little earlier, and position ourselves for cleanup grants. And so when I talked earlier about the plans that we use to prioritize these sites, so this is a general map of the inventory that we work with. And these are our priority sites that we have identified in the city. And so we look forward to publishing our inventory map in the next few months as we bring on this new consultant. I know Jean Angel and I have been working on this inventory, getting it into our mapping software here so that we can just share that online and promote these sites to developers and to the real estate community. And so we try to focus on council's vision through the Brewery District Plan and through the Capitol Boulevard Corridor Plan. And so I'm just going to talk about 2 sites right now because these are the sites that are directly tied to the EPA funding that I'm going to talk about. And so we have 2 primary sites of the former brewery, and that's the Knoll, which is up here on the hill adjacent to I-5. And so we have completed phase 1 and phase 2 work on the Knoll. So that has been completed. This here to the right, on the other side of Capitol Boulevard, we have the Valley site, which is what we lovingly call the warehouse. And so the warehouse has had a phase 1 executed, and now we need a phase 2. And so to also expand the efficacy and efficiency of this process, the city is also going to expand that phase 2 work to the properties around the warehouse that the city recently purchased from the Lacey Olympia Tumwater Thurston County Clean Water Alliance lot, so that we have even more information about these sites that all have the same character. And so the funding that we're talking about that we utilize for this is a community-wide assessment grant from the Environmental Protection Agency. And so this is what has paid for all of the effort to this date. We are about halfway through this $500,000. And from Jean and I being here for about a year, we have looked at past progress. We have been working with the EPA and the free consultant that the EPA provides us to make this a more efficient and effective process. And so one of the changes that we have made is to end the agreement with our current consultant and to change to Pioneer Technologies. They are based in Olympia, and this would be for a $200,000 scope of work. We can add more funding to that, but we want to make sure that we start with a baseline of the primary work we need done. The term is aligned to end at the end of our EPA grant agreement. So we have a lot of work to do before September 2027, and we need a consultant who is going to run with us to make progress very quickly. And then my understanding is that my mouse is not working properly. And so the immediate work that will happen as soon as this agreement is signed is that we will immediately start scheduling the phase 2 work. And so if anybody is watching online at a later date, if you have questions about any of this work, my economic development coordinator, my partner in crime, Jean Angel, you are welcome to contact Jean or myself, and we're happy to talk brewery, brownfield, economic development. And so the recommendation that staff are asking for today is to place the service provider agreement on the April 21st City Council consent calendar. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Are you able to go back to the slide that shows the warehouses? And then do you know, can you point out exactly the ones on here that the city already owns that you said is going to be part of it?
Yeah, so the city property is this to the, I've forgotten all my ordinal directions.
It's the
West,
parking lot out front.
basically, yes. And this
Okay.
boiler house here.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I know when Councilmember Swarthout mentioned money from Strickland. So we have been prioritized in a process to receive funding. We haven't been awarded that funding yet, but we are looking for funding to demolish this boiler house building here that is contaminated. And so we want to begin work on this ASAP. And then, so this is all city property. And then this building here and this building here are owned by the city.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And my question then is the 200,000 is for, will
Yes.
cover, again, the phase one, no, is the scope of services for the phase one piece of it, is that correct? Or no?
So the $200,000 will cover a variety of deliverables that we owe the EPA. So we have to do a certain number of assessments, and we're negotiating with EPA right now what that actually looks
Okay.
like, given
Okay.
the size and the constraints of the project. They recognize that this is a huge brownfield site.
Mhm.
And so they are
Okay.
working with us because it's very unique.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Have you
Right.
talked to the railroad yet again, or is that down the road, or is that not ours to worry about?
So it's a great question for redevelopment. And I know that as an executive team, we talk about the railroad a lot. So we have been coordinating to reach out for easements. As you know, there are several times during the year when we need to cross the railroad. And so that's something that we're actively working on. And we invite the railroad when we do any kind of, like for our planned action EIS, they are invited to serve on the committees that we have.
I'm just asking that because they haven't been real cooperative in the past.
Cool.
I don't know how you're finding them now. If they've gotten older and crankier, or if they've gotten older and nicer.
Well, good. Well, if we don't have any other questions for this, then we do have a recommendation to place the service provider agreement with Pioneer Technologies Corporation for professional environmental services on the April 21st, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, do I have a second? All right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, perfect. All right, let's go forth and be prosperous on this one. It's nice to see action, positive action happening in that area. So that is awesome. Thank you for your work on that, Kelly. So
Thank you.
look forward to,
Thanks, Kelly.
just look forward to hearing more about that as we move forward. Those are the kind of things too that would be nice to hear you and Jean present in upcoming meetings to see where we are on the progress of all of that. So it'd be great. So,
Can
Yeah.
do.
It's
Yeah.
a very important thing to now start
mhm.
like Eileen's saying, let the community know, because
Mhm.
you hardly go out and about, or
Mhm.
since I live very close in the neighborhood, like right there by it, go to the grocery store or something, people are asking,
Yeah.
are you still doing anything?
What's
on-
next?
Yeah.
What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
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 You got any offers?
Yeah.
Do we even own
Yeah.
it yet? About all of those, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is high interest thing, and anything we can do positive is
Mhm.
going to be well
Yeah.
received, jumped up and down received. So
Yeah. Yeah, after the Heritage District, that part getting developed, that craft district. Now, what's next? What's next for Tumwater? So, thank you, Kelly, for your work on that.
Yeah,
All
thank you.
right. So we just gave her some ideas for additional and future items that we'd like to see. So, we appreciate your work. And so it looks like we don't have anything else on our agenda. So with that, I will adjourn our meeting for Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. General Government Committee meeting adjourned. So you guys go out and have a great day, and we'll see you later.
I thought we were.
Bye, guys. Oh,
Oh, wait, Joan has the last word here.
yep.
I thought we were going to talk about kind of our work plan or what we were going to do coming up on this committee. No?
I don't know that it's,
We can add that to a future agenda.
Was it originally on this?
I don't
Um,
believe so.
yeah, I think it was just like a placeholder there, but yeah, I don't know that we had anything there. So that's something to reach, we can check with,
Staff will
okay.
reach out to you, Eileen.
Okay.
And we'll take care of that.
Okay, yeah, Councilmember Kelly, we'll make sure that that is on there. Because we do, let's see, I'll look at our agenda schedule. What's planned for upcoming meetings for general government. So at this point, like on our next one, when we meet in May, we've got a resolution that has to do with the Black Lake Belmore annexation. So we've got one item there so far. But and then we've got another one for June that has to do with the demolition project. So if there's things that you want to see, of course, please put any suggestions or anything like that. So we do have items on the agendas coming forward. So, but if you've got this, I'm still new to doing this one. So this committee. So if there's things that you want to see.
If you have specific suggestions, please email Brittany, and staff will circle back with the chair, regarding scheduling.
Yeah. And I know you chaired this before, so any wisdom I would definitely take from you,
No.
Councilmember.
Are we operating, or going to go back to operating on, if we only have one item, we don't have a meeting? I mean, or like, is this, today, are we talking about this because it's imminent and we need to get it on the council agenda, that it's been lagging or needing to be done? Is that why this is the only thing we're talking about today?
I'm happy to speak to that if Chair Swarthout is all right with it.
Yeah, please.
So this was a specific priority item. Council has expressed several times that if it is about brewery progress, that we move forward. So yes, that was the rationale.
Okay.
And
So,
okay.
Madam Chair, if we want to have that discussion and go back, if it's a one item meeting and it's not something that needs to be put on the next, council meeting, or
Mhm.
needs to move quickly or something like that, we usually don't have a meeting.
Okay.
So we can change that. It's just that I thought that we were going to talk about future things.
Okay.
I do also see that too, Joan, that it does say additional future items on the agenda, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been trying to keep an eye on the planning commission too. I'm looking at because that usually, tells us what we're going to see next, the stuff that they're working on. So, yeah, I should probably work with Brad and just kind of get an idea like what's going to be coming down our way based on what they're working on. Because now that we are not doing comp plan, that always predicated what we were going to be working on based on what they were working on. So, yeah. I'm still getting used to Public Works was different. This is a whole different going back to this world again is different for me. So I appreciate your wisdom there, Joan. You've been on it for so long. So yeah.
You remember that?
I do remember those days. Yeah, it's been a while, but I do remember. So yeah. That these could be long meetings. So I do.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get a long meeting. I'm just trying to
I know, but
yeah.
No, I do. It's coming back to me now. So yeah. So I appreciate that. So
it's not because any of us are getting old.
No, no,
It's
no,
just
no.
because we've been away.
Nah. No, that's not it. So, all right, ma'am. So
Okay.
with that, I think we can, yeah, go off and try to enjoy some sunshine that has decided to peek out. So, yeah.
Yep.
All right. With
Thank you.
that, then we can, yeah, I appreciate you calling that out. And so we'll get some information about that. So move forward with it. So, all right. So we are officially adjourned and enjoy your day, everyone.
Thank you.
Always great to see you. Have a good day.
Thank
Uh-huh,
you.
you too.
All
Bye.
right. Okay. Thanks. Bye bye.